Hi, this is EDL 850 School Law Module 1. I am Sarah Thompson. I am from Hutchinson, Kansas. I have 5 beautiful children. I've studied at the University of Kansas in the area of applied behavioral analysis with a specialty area in early childhood education and intervention. I also went to Wichita State University, where I have a degree in birth to grade 3 unified and also my K through 6 degree. I currently work at the Early Education Center where I've been there for 8 years. I have 11 total years of teaching experience. At the Early Education Center, we teach with a 50-50 model, 50% of our students being special need and 50% of our students being peer models. And so 50% of those students with special needs are on IEPs, and we also have teachers that visit out in the community where they help other preschool teachers with students with IEPs. When asked how does my administrator demonstrate knowledge of federal, state, and school laws, being that we deal with a large majority of students on IEPs and with special education, we deal a lot with the IDEA, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. We talk a lot about the free and education and appropriate education, the LRE, which is the least restrictive environment. And a lot of times we send students out with IEPs out into the community because the services that we offer are more than what they might need, and they are adequately met out in the community. Those would be a lot of our speech students, the students working on articulation. We also handle all the evaluations and screenings of students in our community. So with that, we have to know a lot of or all of the federal, state, and school laws that pertain to that. She also discussed a lot of state licensing and just keeping our school license as well as her teacher's license and our compliances with our PDC and making sure that we get all of our guidelines met in time for our relicensure. We also keep in compliance with the health department and just meeting all of their needs as far as snack time and how we handle diapering and the different things that come along with being in a preschool environment. We also have to meet fire code regulations, making sure entrances are blocked and things aren't hanging from the ceiling, and all of the things that the fire marshal comes in and talks to us about. She makes sure that we follow up with those guidelines. Also a big with the federal, state, and school laws is discipline. You know, there is absolutely no restraint of children. And a lot of times it's easy with our little ones, they are tiny. So when they are upset, it's easier just to kind of pick them up and move them. And absolutely that is not okay. And so we teach a lot of self-regulation, and we have to constantly train ourselves on what to do when a child is having a meltdown and the appropriate procedures to go through with that. My own knowledge of federal and state and school law, like I said, we do a lot of evaluations and screenings, and we are held reliable for knowing all the guidelines and the laws according to that. As our students come in for screening, they have to have signed permission, and then after, depending on the results of screening, they can be offered a regular preschool position, or they go out into the community for preschool. Or if they failed screening, that's when we have signed permission for an evaluation. After their evaluation, we have to give them at least a 10-day notice of meeting. Before that notice of meeting, I forgot to say that we have only 60 days, school days, to evaluate the student to determine if they need special education services, and that's when we will give the notice of meeting, give the parents at least 10 days notice before the meeting is held to determine the placement of their child. And with that is the development of the IEP. And with the IEP, it is very well known that everything in the IEP must be followed in accordance, with the special education times, the speech times, maybe the occupational therapy or the physical therapy times. Everything must be followed, and also followed in accordance to how we said we were going to communicate with the parents as far as when they're going to be noticed on their outcomes and their goals, and also just knowing that we are meeting their annual IEPs and that they have to be done within a year of each other. And also a big thing is student records, just maintaining that everything is maintained confidential, nothing is being shared with people that are not to be involved in this within the students or outside of the classroom. A big thing that I learned and just going over some of the school laws is I understand that I don't have to deal with quite a bit of what other teachers and administrators deal with, such as we don't really do grading. We don't have to focus so much on the religious aspects of prayer in school because a lot of our kids are just now learning how to communicate. I also, freedom of expression, we're still working on learning the speech sounds and just understanding the start of certain concepts. And another thing we don't worry about is dress code. We don't have to worry about that within school so much. We're just happy if our kids are dressed appropriately as far as warmth and clean. So we don't deal so much with dress code violations or that aspect that you might see in the grade schools, middle schools, high school level, and don't see so much about cell phone policy. I will deal with my parents one-on-one if their cell phones are out, but we don't have any sort of policy for students because obviously none of them have them. Or we don't see so much bullying. A lot of our children are very cooperative with each other. A lot of our peer models are very much peer models and want to help and want to be the wonderful role models for our special education students. And so my plan to improve is just, especially as I go into administration, is learning about more of those policies and state laws and guidelines in accordance to some of those, and just improve my knowledge on that and stay aware of changes that are happening at the state level and things that are happening at board meetings, and just continue as I learn to communicate with my peers and my paras, and so that we are all connected. So thanks for listening. I look forward to a wonderful semester.